Hey everybody, it's Mad Master here, doing yet another video today. And this one is going to be another manifestation video. So I was thinking about this the other day after one of my last ones that I did about the subject. So I think sometimes, like I said in one of my previous videos, we can have negative feelings and still manifest. Now, it's that desire that's seated even with the negative energy. Now, the results are not always that great as far as what you get, as far as probably compared to having positive thinking and manifesting with that. Now, that doesn't mean that's always true. So I was thinking about an example from my own life that I wanted to share. It's a little weird talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So I had this friend about a great number of years ago, more than 10 years ago. And he was like one of my best friends. Hung out a lot. But he would have this tendency to kind of, and this is nothing against my friend, I know he's had his own challenges, mental health and otherwise, so I'm cool with, I guess we're cool now because friends on Facebook and stuff, but I don't think I'll ever see this video anyways. But anyways, so there was a lot of contention because he was kind of a person that had these challenges and would kind of ghost people for months or years at a time. And I'm wondering if there's a tendency among this certain astrological sign, because it seems like they do that to people. But anyways, I'm not going to go into that. I don't know where I stand on that. So I'll just say, like, people that are, I'll go ahead and say it. It seems like the Pisces sign does that a lot, but giving it away too much, I guess. So anyways, they just seem to like say, oh, I'm not going to talk to this person anymore. I never do, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of into that. So it seems like I was really devastated because I was hanging out with this guy all the time. We were joking around, had this really good friendship. I was even kind of not exactly the best man at his wedding, but I hung out with him more at his wedding than his best man. So it's like de facto best man at his wedding. It's like 2007 or 2008. So I was really depressed, and I would he told me these stories about doing these things, and I forgot what it was exactly. It was just this thing that he did at his college or something. I hope I'm not giving too much away about this, but people, like I said, I don't think he watches these types of videos or anything. So nevertheless, it's just an interesting story. I was kind of immature dork and extremely needy, and it was like, when he stopped talking to me, I sent him all these messages and called him Mr. Blow Off and stuff, and sent him all these texts. I was kind of being an asshole. I sent him all these emails. It was the most desperate, weird thing I've ever done, probably. And I regret it to this day because it was really dumb. But I've grown a lot since then. I don't do that. Person doesn't want to have anything to do with me in my life, then whatever. That's their loss. So, but I will say this. I learned a lesson from this. And it's about manifesting. So they say one door closes, another one opens, right? I've seen that with relationships and stuff. Like, I was seeing this girl in early 2011, and this is kind of mean and horrible, but I told her that I literally, when we were having problems, that I'd find someone better. 3 months later, I was dating, at the time, who was the love of my life, So, it happens. And I was with her far longer than this other girl. So, what happened with this one? Well, I had this thing all these things that I lost from this friend ditching me. And I was also trying to get more. I was like, I need to be social. I had these visions in my head of this thing, like having more friends, having more opportunities. This was 2008. This happened, and it was like late 2008, early 2009. So basically that year, now some of these friends I didn't talk to, years later or anything, but like I made like, probably about 8 or 9 friends, if you include like my role-playing game friends. I made a bunch of friends the next year, and it was like, it was like I manifested this thing. I lost this one thing, and I gained this other thing, right? I'm not trying to say people are things, but it's kind of like one door closes, another one opens, the whole thing, And I was so depressed about losing this friend and so pissed off that somehow that energy got transmuted into the universe and got me a whole other bunch of friends. It's just like, and I went out, that summer a lot, and, hung out with these new friends, and it was just fucking awesome, because it was like, man, I was really alone. Okay, so like 2008, early 2009, I was playing out with friends so much. I mean, I had other friends, of course, and I have other friends. Some of them friends to this day. But it was like, I focused on this one person, as far as like being one of my best friends. And like when I lost him as a friend, I had way less stuff to do because we were hanging out a lot. So, but he had kind of done this several times before for various reasons. So this time that he did it, it was like, I knew that I was like, I want this, it was like this desire. I want like friends I could go out with and flirt with women or whatever. It's like all these things, right? And it manifested itself, the following year or later that year or whatever. So my point in this is that, like, if you lose a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, or wife or husband, or, sometimes, or a friend, you can manifest more by having this attitude that one door closes, another one opens. And the door might be better. In this case, I had made more friends than I ever had. And one of the things about role-playing games is that I had always tried to get it together with role-playing games. Nobody ever wanted to like sit down and do it like a lot of my friends. We would go like 5 minutes and then quit or whatever. Try to get even brother-in-law or whoever to try to do this, or at the time, it's just, but it was like this by fate. Fate has it, one of the first people I ever role-played with in my life, I met up with in 2009. And I've been role-playing with that group ever since. I was part of this thing, like, I'd always wanted to do that. So sometimes things take years, that you want to do in your life, I mean, I talk about a lot about wanting a castle in Scotland. Would it surprise me if I ever had one? Not necessarily. Talked about it a lot. May take years, but maybe I will have that. It's perhaps going to happen. So manifestation is a tricky thing. But I do think that in certain circumstances, I mean, look at all these people teaching these manifestation courses about specific persons and saying, oh, you can't be desperate, blah, blah, blah. You want your ex back, or you want this person that you have a crush on or whatever. It's like, a person that clicks on that course in the first place is going to be desperate. Maybe by doing the course, they'll be less desperate. And then for some reason, their behaviors will show in real life, and maybe whatever happens. And maybe there is some mystical stuff with this too, of course, that'll point them in the direction of that specific person or whatever. But it's like the problem exists. And if they weren't having problems in the first place, they wouldn't be clicking on videos about manifestation or self-help or whatever necessarily. That's the irony about it, is like, if they're trying to say, you're trying to say you act as if the problem doesn't exist, but why would you get into this stuff in the first place? There's a little paradox there. Why would you get into the pickup artist scene? It's like, oh, the goal is to not have to have the pickup artist scene, you know, or whatever you want to call it. The goal is to not even be a person that would ever even be close to that, because you're so secure in yourself and good with getting what you want as far as relationships go. So it's kind of one of those paradoxes I wanted to mention. But anyways, that's what I have to say about manifesting a friend. You can manifest friends. You can manifest people that, you know, you can meet people in your life that just, it feels like, you know, a lot of times that's happened to me though, you know, with people, you know, it's like certain situation. I have another situation, you know, my friend was getting really into drugs and really wanted a way out of this drug scene he was in. Thankfully, he got himself straight years later. You know, it got worse. It wasn't like really hard drugs at the time, but he was getting more into that lifestyle. And I was looking for someone like get out of there. I met one of my best friends, you know, somehow through the universe. I don't know what you have to say. You know, it's kind of funny. Sometimes this happens, you know. Like one door closes, another one opens with people. And it's always good to remind yourself of that. Because I think sometimes in my life, I've also manifested being alone and being isolated, which we are right now in this lockdown because of whatever. I say whatever because I don't want to give it more power than it has. So that happened with me for years because of certain situations I was in as far as manifesting being alone and manifesting things were not so great. I'm really working on this stuff and it's just, you know, it's been a revelation. And I may do another video about how I manifested what I talked about a few videos ago, actually a couple months ago, about the breakup. And I'm going to talk about that probably in my next video. But that's it. Please subscribe and share this video. I know how much you love it. See ya.